Hey y'all, it's week 24 on Wegovy. That means it's my last week taking the Wegovy shot and I'm gonna make every moment count. This week I'll be cooking spinach ricotta quiche, some pickled red onions to put on salads, and chicken fajita pasta. The recipes are gonna be linked down in the description, but if you want a detailed calorie and macro breakdown of everything I ate this week, there will be a link to my MyFitnessPal where you can view my food diary. If these recipes sound good to you, please be sure to give the video a like. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get cooking. All right, we're gonna start on this quiche. We're gonna need eggs, obviously. I'm using cashew milk in place of skim milk, some Parmesan cheese, spinach, a prepared deep dish 9-inch pie dough, and then some recipe calls for part skim mozzarella. My grocery store was out, so I got low fat. Some grape tomatoes, part skim mozzarella, and some kosher salt. Let's do this.
It's electric when you kiss me. Never felt this way before. We're magnetic, wanna stay here, closer than close. Up in the clouds, I can see the whole world now. Breathtaking world, can't believe my eyes. Up in the sky, I can see the whole world tonight. 'Cause you make me feel like I wanna get lost in your paradise. You make me believe it's real. Just high up above from the ground, but closer to heaven. I won't fight it, can't deny it. I'm under your spell. Just like magic, won't forget this for the rest of my life. Up in the clouds, I can see the whole world now. Breathtaking world, can't believe my eyes. Up in the sky, I can see the whole world tonight. 'Cause you make me feel like I wanna get lost in your paradise. You make me believe it's real. It's high up above from the ground, but closer to heaven. We're closer to heaven. Cause you make me feel like I wanna get lost in your paradise. You make me believe it's real. It's high up above from the ground, but closer to heaven. Closer to heaven. We're closer to heaven.
Okay, so let's try this quiche. Basically, so I prepped this on Monday so that it would be ready to go, and I just cut it into 6 slices, and then I preheated my air fryer, and I stuck it in at 300 degrees for about 7 minutes. That's really all it takes, and the crust is crispy on the bottom from the air fryer, and the cheese is all stringy from those little ricotta pockets in the mozzarella. You get that little bit of brightness from the tomato, and since they're cut in half, like the jelly on the inside kind of caramelizes a little bit, so it gets like sweet and jammy. This is like hands down one of my absolute favorite breakfast foods. I'm much more of a savory breakfast person than a sweet breakfast person. I like sweet breakfast for dinner. Or like another time, like I used to, when I lived with my sisters, they used to make waffles all the time. And so like I would have a waffle for like a mid-afternoon snack or like a late night snack or dessert or something like that. So I prefer sweet breakfast for times other than breakfast. I really like more savory stuff like this, and the flavor in this is phenomenal. The recipe calls to use basil, but I usually don't put basil in it just because it's so expensive. I plan on eventually starting an herb garden, but I don't really have much of a green thumb and I have a tendency to kill everything. So I've tried growing basil before and it did work for a while, but then eventually I got to the place where I forgot about it and stopped taking care of it. And then of course it died. So anyway, definitely make this. Totally worth it. It's fantastic for meal prep because you just make it once and then it makes 6 to 8 servings depending on how large of a piece you want. But I mean, this piece, the piece of the piece of quiche and the strawberries, and the strawberries together is only 335 calories. So it's, even if you do 6 slices instead of 8, it's still very low calorie. So I hope you give this one a shot. It's really delicious. All right, guys, this is a really easy, quick recipe. I'm going to show you how to make some pickled red onions. All we're going to need is some apple cider vinegar, some sugar, some salt, a red onion, and some hot water. Let's do this. All right, so by far the most complicated part of this recipe is slicing the onions. Now, if you have a mandolin, it will make this job a million times easier. So what I did was I sliced this onion in half. I'm going to kind of put it back together again. I've got this half that's just kind of being a pain in my butt, this little piece that just keeps falling out, so I'm just going to leave it alone. And I'm going to kind of put this back together, and I'm going to use my hand guard. It's got these little prickly things in it, and we're going to poke them in there so it holds that together. And then if you have a mandolin, make sure you use the hand guard. This is like one of the most dangerous kitchen tools in the kitchen. So all I'm going to do is just kind of slide it up and down, and it's going to slice these into super fine slices. So just like that, it's going to slice those really fine. And you can see how much longer that would take me if I was doing that by hand. But the thinner these are, the better they're going to taste, in my opinion. And then as you get down to the end, you just push that little stopper down and it finishes them. All right, and then I've got these little nubbins left over at the end, and I am going to save my fingers and not put those through the mandolin. And I'll just kind of slice those by hand. I know this will make these kind of chopped, but I don't really care. They will still taste good, even in a different shape. So now we're just going to take these and shove them in a jar. This is just an old pickle jar. And you want these crammed in pretty tight. You'll see like one onion makes a whole lot of these, but they last for a long time in the fridge. I have a feeling this jar is too small. I have another container I usually use, but it's currently occupied. Oh, God, my eyeballs. You can put your onion in the refrigerator about an hour or so before you're getting ready to cut it, and it will help to keep those gases from distributing. It won't make you cry as bad. All right, that's good enough, I say, as I continue to scrape up the last little dregs here. Okay. So there are our onions. And then I've got a cup of hot water here, and I'm going to stir in a tablespoon of sugar and 1.5 teaspoons of salt until they dissolve. That looks good. All right, and then we're going to add in a 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. You can always just use distilled white vinegar for this part also. It doesn't have to be apple cider vinegar, but apple cider vinegar has a whole host of health benefits, so you might as well. And then you're just going to take your little jar and you're going to fill it up to the top with this pickling liquid. And that's all there is to it. I have a lot of liquid left because these were packed in here really tight. But I'm just going to put this lid on. And then I'm going to stick this in my refrigerator. Actually, I'm going to move that around. It looks like I got some more air to the top. So just, oh, that's full. Okay. And then I'm going to stick this in the fridge and it will last for a very long time. And it's going to turn a really beautiful, like bright pinkish purple color. So you can save this if you want to. I'm just going to throw it out. I don't make these very often, but these are good on sandwiches, burgers, salads. They're just like a sweet and sour, delicious, savory, happy, yummy condiment to put on everything. All right, we're going to start working on this chicken fajita pasta. This is a different recipe than the one that I used if you've been watching me since the very beginning of my channel. We're trying a different one. So if you've been around for a while, you know my husband doesn't eat vegetables. So I'm going to be doing some onions. I don't like bell peppers, so I'm going to use a poblano, and I'm also going to put in some mushrooms because mushrooms are delicious. But I will be cooking those separately instead of putting them in the pasta because I will add them to mine so my husband doesn't have to have any. We're also going to need some butter and some avocado oil, a cup of shredded cheddar cheese, which equates to 4 ounces or a half a block. I have some garlic. It called for a can of tomatoes. I went ahead and got the tomatoes with diced green chilies because that sounded yummy. Some heavy whipping cream. It just calls for chicken breast with fajita seasoning, but the marinated chicken fajita meat was on sale at H-E-B this week, so I just picked that up. And then we need a pound of pasta. I got this mini penne because it was really cute. And also some chicken broth. Let's put this together. All right, let's start these veggies. Get a little bit of oil in my pan. I'm going to toss in my mushrooms. This is a full pound of mushrooms. Now I am going to be using these veggies for multiple, well, not multiple things, 2 different things this week. Well, no, 3. I'm going to be using them in this pasta, and then I'm going to be doing chicken fajita salads for lunch. And then I'm doing another meal. I'm going to be making my burger salads. I do have that recipe somewhere. And so I'm just doing a ton of these veggies, and I'll just kind of dole them out throughout the week in whatever it is that I'm eating at the time. And all I'm going to add to this seasoning wise is just some salt. A lot of veggies means a lot of seasoning. And some pepper. And then once we get closer to being done, I'm going to add some garlic in. And we're just going to let these cook down until they wilt and get some color on them, and that's it. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. You can see some of the brown on the veggies, and we've got some fond on the bottom of the pan that I can't really get with the juices anymore. So now I'm going to add a couple forkfuls of this garlic. Maybe like 2 teaspoons worth. I really like garlic. You can feel free to adjust that to your taste. And I'm just going to kind of stir it around until it starts to smell all perfumey and garlicky and lovely. It should only take about 30 to 60 seconds. Yep, that looks good. All right, I'm going to pull this out and put it in a container and set it in the fridge for when I'm ready to use it.
I'm looking up from my window. Sun's coming up like the day before. You're like a stone on my pillow. I don't make a sound when I shut the door. You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend I'll put the TV in the room. We'll have a Netflix marathon, Kenny G saxophone. We'll order in a bunch of food. I'll put your favorite music on all the way baritone. Yeah. Shut the lights, go infrared. We can spend all day in bed. I get the wine and the corkscrew. You don't have to do one single thing. You don't know how much I want you. Just looking at you makes my whole world spin. You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend all day in bed. I'll put the TV in the room. We'll have a Netflix marathon, Kenny G saxophone. We'll order in a bunch of food. I'll put your favorite music on all the way baritone. Shut the lights, go infrared. We can spend all day in bed.
Let's taste this pasta. I'm pretty good. I will say it probably would have more flavor if I used the fajita seasoning instead of just the marinated chicken meat, because the fajita seasoning went on the veggies and the chicken in the recipe, but it's still got good flavor. It's almost like a, when you throw, because you throw the cheese in at the end, it's almost like a fajita mac and cheese kind of. It's really good though, especially with the mushrooms. We should make that. That's yummy. All right, guys, that's it for this week. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a like and let me know down in the comments which recipe you're planning to try. I post cooking and weight loss videos every week, so be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can see how much weight I lost eating these delicious recipes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
We found the strength to go on together.